Terraria's dart guns are kind of garbage, but what if they weren't? Let me introduce you to Terraria's Dart class. I started my Terraria adventure just like any other player. I cracked open a starter bag, grabbed some essential tools, and quickly made the Lorax roll over in his grave by chopping down every tree in sight. I gazed through the recipe browser to check all of the various different dart guns, and oh my goodness, do we finally have a good new Terraria class. Shortly after, I started digging out a elevator and proceeded to multitask by picking up as much ore as I could along the way, as well as making any necessary derailments to various chests around the underground in hopes of getting nice accessories such as the cloud in the bottle and the summon for the Eye of Cthulhu. As I came back up to the surface, I built a massive NPC base and crafted our very first dart gun of the game from 12 copper called the Dart Zapper. You see, the Dart Zapper is a bit of a goofy gun. It kind of looks like those old British muskets, and I'm not going to lie, it also does about the same damage. Regardless though, I crafted myself some copper darts so I can actually shoot the damn thing, and I went on to collect stars during the night. After running aimlessly through the world, I came back to my holy place of birth and proceeded to build a little boss arena for the Eye of Cthulhu. Oh, hopeful old Boio, building boss arenas with his 100 HP and copper weapons. But don't worry, I did realize I needed more health, so health is what I went to search for. During my spelunking, I discovered a mushroom biome and some seeds, a future home for Mr. Truffle. Now, the underground chests were quite good, providing me accessories like the Hermes boots, and I also collected plenty of ore. Once I came back up to the surface, I had 220 HP, and I proceeded to craft myself 3 different weapons from all of the materials I gathered. The first weapon being called the Spore Flinger out of 5 iron and 15 glowing mushrooms, the second being the Enchanted Dart Caster out of 5 stars and the Dart Zapper, and lastly the Violent Vigilante using 12 Demonite bars. With my new arsenal, I dove back into the caverns, chugged a Spelunker potion, and hunted for more life crystals. My journey was anything but smooth though. I fell for a chest trap, got crushed by a boulder, and even blew myself up somehow. Like, seriously, I don't even know what happened here. Yet, all of the chaos was well worth it as I returned to spawn with full HP. Back in the caverns, I was on a mission to find the suspicious looking eye, and it didn't take long before I found it tucked away in a chest. Returning to spawn, I upgraded my humble copper darts by combining them with torches to create flaming darts, setting enemies ablaze with every hit. Next, I wiggled my way to the jungle where I found a boomerang, gathered some stingers, and collected as many jungle spores as I could before teleporting back to spawn. Once at spawn using the boomerang, I combined it with 99 darts at an anvil and made myself the Dartarang, which served 2 purposes. It was a dart gun and a boomerang. How creative. After this, I crafted a full set of golden armor, got some potions, and summoned the Eye of Cthulhu. Primarily using the Violent Vigilante, I took out the eye without much effort as we were well over prepared for it, but after beating it, we did get the Shield of Cthulhu, which is a very sweet accessory. Very shortly after, I made an arena for the Eater of Worlds in the Corruption biome and blew up 3 orbs in order to summon him in. The fight was going quite well up until, well, this happened. So anyways, I went to redo exactly what I spent the last 10 minutes doing, and we fought the Eater of Worlds once again, demolishing it with the Enchanted Dart Caster. We breezed through the battle, securing the Worm Scarf, which is one of the best accessories in the game, and it is still useful up until the moonlord. I went over to the jungle and farmed out a serious amount of stingers this time, allowing us to craft the Verdant Stalker from 12 stingers, 3 vines, and 12 jungle spores. This was a very slow shooting fart gun, but it did deal like 50 damage, so we can excuse it for the snail fire rate. And yes, I know, I just said fart gun. Do not be running into the comments, please. Next, I mined Hellstone with an Obsidian Skin Potion, and once back at the surface, I crafted the Blazebringer from 15 Hellstone. And the special feature of this weapon is it can cause explosions on enemy hits. Using a Gravitation Potion, I soared into the sky in search for a Sky Mill, and along the way, I found a meteor. Then I built an arena at Skeletron's dungeon. However, I have one major problem here. My mobility is absolute whack. I have no double jump, and no rocket boots. But despite this, I still gave the fight a shot. As expected, once the expert mode skulls started firing, my lack of mobility really showed, and I got absolutely demolished within seconds. Using 25 meteorite, I crafted myself the Astral Amalgam, which shot a piercing laser every 4 hits, and this was quite good for invasions such as the Goblin Army, and overall great for multiple mob encounters. I went over to the jungle and I got the bright idea that I should try to fight the Queen Bee. So I made myself an arena. Yeah, this looks really big, right? But hold on, spawn, it does get worse. As I was fighting it and taking a stupid amount of damage, my weapon projectiles flew across the jungle and summoned in another queen bee. How convenient. And not only that, but they followed me home and literally killed me right beside my safe place. But there was a silver lining. A goblin army invaded. And after defeating it, I went to search for the goblin tinker within the caverns. After a few minutes, I actually found him, which was very relieving. I bought myself rocket boots, a tinker's workshop, and turned the rocket boots into lightning boots as soon as I was back at spawn. With my newfound mobility, I attempted Skeletron again. This time, it was a breeze. Jumping and flying around the skulls, dodging his spinning attacks, and just like that, Skeletron was defeated, granting us access to the dungeon. Jumping straight into the Grey Temple, I collected water candles, opened chests, and hunted down dark casters as I need their drops to craft the best pre-hard mode dart gun in the game. After about 5 minutes of farming, I got lucky and a dark caster dropped the Katana Kaze. Without any hesitation, I ran back to spawn and combined it with the Blazebringer, Verdant Stalker, and Violent Vigilante to craft the Dysphoria, a fast shooting dart gun that spawns damage dealing bolts around the hit target. I then proceeded to run back to the jungle and get all of the necessary resources in order to craft the summon for the Queen Bee. Seeking sweet revenge, I defeated her and obtained a new weapon, the Bumble Barrage, a dart gun that shoots bees, though it wasn't very effective. I then ventured to the underworld, built a massive bridge, and farmed for a guide voodoo doll. Back at spawn, I reforged my accessories to warding, or as close as I could without going flat broke. I stocked up on buffs and prepared for the Wall of Flesh. During the fight, this wall was piecing me up, and only then did I realize that I made a critical mistake. I forgot to bring health potions. Utilizing the underworld buildings, I managed to break pots for HP hearts, but what really changed it was a single health potion that I got from breaking a pot, which saved the fight, and I finished with barely 100 HP remaining. But we are now in hard mode, so I broke all of the altars and went to go mine hard mode ores. I got myself a full set of Ranger titanium armor quite quickly, farmed out wyverns, and got 2 giant harpy feathers, one for wings and one for our very first hard mode weapon. During this time, I killed the king slime as we needed the solidifier. I crafted myself harpy wings and a weapon called the Harpy Quillstorm that shot out darts and harpy feathers alternatively. Since we need to fight the mechanical bosses to progress in the game, I started killing mobs in the corruption and hallowed biome to get souls of light and souls of night. During this time, one of the mobs ended up dropping a mechanical skull, leaving us 2 more boss summons left to craft. Once I came back up to the surface, I crafted myself the mechanical worm, which summons in the destroyer, and me being me, I decided it would be a good idea to see how my weapons fare up against this boss. Well, this is how it went. As you can see, nothing good came out of this, but shortly after, I crafted the summon for the twins, and having all 3 mechanical boss summons, I realized I need far better gear for these bosses, and my current loadout frankly won't cut it. So I went back down into the mines and started mining crystals in the hallowed biome. Thus starts my 4-step preparation for almost every boss fight. I suggest you take notes. Upon coming to spawn, I crafted crystal darts, which betters our primary weapon damage output. While mining, I killed a few mimics, which dropped the star cloak and a cross necklace, allowing us to craft the star veil. I then reforged everything to warding, and lastly, bought tons of buff potions. We started by taking on the destroyer. Though we took some damage, we defeated him and crafted a new dart weapon called the Euphoria with 12 hallowed bars. This made the twins boss fight a breeze, and they dropped an accessory called the Seeker's Spyglass, which highlights enemy weak points for extra damage, kind of like the Fortnite pickaxe when hitting a tree, if that makes any sense. Looking at the sky, we didn't have too much time left for old Skeletron, but I decided to try my luck and go for it regardless. Well, as you see, this was a god-awful idea, as this happened. Leaving Skeletron for the next night, I crafted the Tranquilizer Dart accessory with hallowed bars, which slows enemies on hit. After mining and selling ores, I found the merchant selling a dart license accessory, boosting dart damage and critical strike chance, so of course I had to pick it up. And once it turned to nighttime, I summoned in Skeletron Prime, and here is my long-awaited rematch with this metallic Boio. Upon defeating Skeletron, I crafted the volatile contraption using 10 souls of might, fright, and sight, plus 10 hallowed bars. This weapon mimics the mechanical bosses, summoning eye minions and charging a powerful laser, kind of like the Skeletron Prime from Calamity Infernum. I also upgraded my Dysphoria to the True Dysphoria, which has a right-click attack that uses energy to magnetize enemies and attract damaging green bolts. Next, I mined Chlorophyte in the jungle and crafted the True Euphoria. This weapon's special attack uses energy to surround enemies with spears and launch the spears at them, similar to Undyne's attack from Undertale. At spawn, I made myself a glowing mushroom biome. After this was done, I ran over to the jungle and started making myself a Plantera arena. I'd place platforms, torches, more torches, and even more torches before summoning in the plant boss herself. Hey, so before we go and make a salad out of this boss, if you are enjoying this video so far, please consider subscribing. It would really help us reach more Terraria players and allow us to do brand new, never before seen things within this game. Thank you for your help, and let's get back to it. So Plantera was not too difficult. I got caught up with her here and there, but frankly, the brand new weapons made the fight quite easy, and she was out in no time whatsoever. Next, I cleared out Golem's temple, collecting solar eclipse tablets, power cells, and upon returning to spawn, I was promptly invaded by pirates. We took out the pirates, and as soon as I had some downtime, I crafted myself chlorophyte darts, which, as you can guess, follows the enemy around. But along with this, they also spawn spores around them, which makes them extra cool, I guess. I started the solar eclipse, killed a Mothron, got the broken hero sword, combined the true dysphoria and the true euphoria, and made myself a weapon called the Serenity, which was possibly one of, if not the best pre-moonlord dart weapon that we can get our hands on. It also had an ability which cost energy, and it was a mix of both the true euphoria and dysphoria, but on steroids essentially. And to make things short, it was a very powerful dart weapon. After that, I grinded ectoplasm and farmed Plantera until I got the rosemary and thyme, which was a dart weapon that was essential for a post-moonlord crafting recipe. I mined more chlorophyte, defeated the destroyer a few times for money, and headed to Golem's temple to challenge Golem. I built a tiny arena, placed platforms and torches, and summoned Golem. Using the Serenity, the fight was a breeze. The weapon truly lived up to its name, putting me in a zen state as I barely took any damage. Defeating Golem granted me the Scatterhook, a unique dart gun that also shot Golem fists, and back at spawn, I noticed my mushroom biome had grown significantly. So I built a house for the truffle, I planted pumpkins to craft the pumpkin moon medallion later, and spent the night defeating various bosses to sell their loot for money. As it turned to day, I started another solar eclipse to defeat more Mothrons and get their wings. Once night fell, I began the pumpkin moon invasion. After killing a few pumpkins, I obtained a new dart gun called the Halloween Hex, which charges up and shoots out pumpkins. Near the end of the invasion, I got nearly spawn trapped by the morning wood, which, like, how does this even happen? With some spare flings fur, I crafted the deer thing and fought the deer clops just because I could. At spawn, I noticed the truffle had arrived, so I bought an auto hammer, made shroomite, and crafted a full set of shroomite armor with the headpiece that boosts dart damage. I then started the frost moon, and defeating the ice queen earned me the glacial geyser, a dart weapon with abilities similar to the ice queen herself. Next, I triggered a Martian madness invasion, killed the saucers, and acquired the Martian marksman dart gun, which charges up an electric shock after a few hits. Once I had collected all of the infinity stones, basically all of the side quest dart guns, well, except for two more that we will cover later, we are basically ready to start preparing for Moonlord. And our first step will be to take out the lunatic cultist. So with my brand new arsenal of overpowered weapons, I went to Skeletron's dungeon and summoned this cultist in. The cultist boss fight was genuinely quite easy. We did not take too much damage, and the homing darts also played a key role in the difficulty of this boss fight. But once the cultist was defeated, the lunar invasion had begun. And as I came to spawn, I decided to take out the very first pillar, which was very close to my little NPC town, that being the Vortex Pillar. Upon taking down this pillar, we were once again granted access to the above ground hallowed biome, and I had the bright idea to maybe fight the Empress of Light. So maybe I did. I got her little lace wig and summoned her in. This was a fun boss fight, but frankly, she stood no chance against us. We took her out and got her neat little dart gun called the Luminescence, which shot rainbow bolts and summoned little empresses to spin around you and fire lasers at your enemy. Afterwards, I went to the Right Ocean, built an arena for Duke Fishron, and fought him. It wasn't too hard since we're near the end game, but I wanted his wings. After defeating him a few times, I got his Crown Cascade dart gun, which was very similar to the Seas Saren from the Calamity mod, and Fishron wings for better mobility. With side quests wrapped up, it was time to face the big boy himself, Moonlord. I tackled the Nebula and Solar Pillars. I then crafted the Charybdis dart gun from Vortex Fragments, which was a dart minigun of sorts, and after taking down the Stardust Pillar, I awaited Moonlord's arrival. Here is the boss fight. This one was a tough one. We took lots of damage running back and forth to the nurse, teleporting home constantly to escape his grasp, but after a long and treacherous boss fight that was super clutch, we took him out, but we were not done yet. Using Luminite, I crafted myself Luminite darts, and realizing that I need a few more dart guns from Moonlord to craft the final dart gun, I went to challenge him again, but man, was I not ready to take him on mentally. I died over and over again. I don't really know what got into me, I just could not beat him. But after a while of banging my head against the wall, I opted for the same strategy that I used the very first time I beat him, and I managed to take him out, this time giving us a weapon called the Laser Therapy, which which shot out these electricity sparks, and I used this weapon to beat him again, which I then proceeded to craft a full set of vortex armor. With all of this power, I beat him one final time, dropping us a weapon called the Stellar Outrage. I once again crafted the Dart Zapper, I crafted the Stellar Frenzy, and lastly in combination created the very final weapon of the game, the Sticks. Here you will be able to see this weapon in action, and it is essentially the zenith of all of the dart guns and is by far the best thing you can get your hands on within this mod. But this has been it for the DartGuns class. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, it will really help with the algorithm. But this has been Boio. Peace out.